Would you like to know how to put together a Facebook business page cover art?
Then this video's for you. Stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Dale.
And I'm Walt.
And this is Live Streaming Tech. And if you want to learn more about live streaming online, places like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, DLive, and beyond,
then make sure you click that subscribe button and turn that little bell notification on so you don't miss a single important video.
And speaking of important videos, this is actually part of a 4-part series here where we're going to be talking about how to optimize the most out of your Facebook business page if you're going to be live streaming on there. Whether you're a gamer or you're an entrepreneur, either way you shake it, make it, or bake it, it's important that you really get all this stuff dialed in. So this past video, you can actually click a link to it. We talk a little bit about the importance of a business page and streaming to it and getting it optimized. This time, we're going to be talking about
the cover art.
Yeah, the cover art's going to be the thing that's going to really set the table for the people that are visiting your page. Now today, we're just going to be doing just a simple image, but the nice thing is we're going to do it all for you, and I'm actually going to set you up with the template. So without any further ado, let's do the screen wipe. Okay, to get the Facebook cover photo, or cover art as some people call it, we're going to want to make sure we utilize the open source software called GIMP. You're going to head over to gimp.org/downloads. Also, you're going to get a little bit more insights when it comes to using GIMP. If you check out our previous video, we're going to leave a link in the description down below, or you can just simply follow along here and we'll redirect you towards the end of the video. So let's go ahead and open up GIMP. Now I'm going to make life a little bit easier for you actually. We're going to have a template already set for you. If you just visit livestreamingtech.site/FB template, that stands for Facebook template, it actually will take you over. You can use these assets at your discretion. Now it should be noted that anytime that you're setting up your Facebook cover art, the dimensions need to be 820 by 312. You can make them larger, but you want to make sure that you keep the proportions about the same size. The minimum size you can go with is 400 by 150. Okay, so rather than me showing you how to set things up, let's just go ahead and open up the template I've already made up ahead of time. And there's good reason why I've done this. Okay, so now this is open. You're gonna see that it has a white area and a black area. The reason is we can set up this cover art and it will look nice, but will it actually be functional for both desktop and mobile? Remember, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be accessing your Facebook business page, and if it's not optimized for mobile, you're going to be in some real trouble. So we're going to want to make sure we keep everything in this white area, and I'll show you kind of how we're going to do that. We're going to just build this one step at a time here. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to drag and drop in an element, click and drag. I'm going to zoom out by pressing my control button and using the scroll wheel. We're going to grab the scale tool and we're going to scale my guy down just a little bit. Now, unfortunately, it looked like the link is unclicked. We're going to want to make sure we reset here. Click that together so that way it's proportionate. We want to make sure we keep the ratios looking normal. That way my head isn't larger than what it's supposed to be. Okay, there we go. I'm looking good so far. Okay, we're going to scale. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab another image, and we're going to click and drag that image right onto the surface. I'm going to make life just a little bit easier. I'm going to click on the original one here, 914. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one by just pressing 914 on it. Scale. Now you notice it kind of disappeared there, but that's okay. It's right over here. We're going to grab the alignment tool. We'll left click on that, go to tool options, center, center. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to try to get it to where we're flanking on either side here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab the flip tool. We're going to flip it horizontally. And we'll get it to where we're on either side here. Okay, I know that the check is probably going to get in the way. So we're just going to kill the check right here. So I want to make sure I'm on the proper layer. Great. Looks good so far. And you notice I kind of get us to where we're on either side. So that way we're optimized for both desktop and mobile. So if our faces are a little bit into here, this will help out. Now I want to go ahead and grab the Live Streaming Tech logo. I'm going to click, drag, drop it on in. It's kind of large. So let's go ahead. We're going to use the scale tool. Scale it on down. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit. We're going to hit scale. Boom. Not too bad. It's looking good already. All right, I'm going to go into the assets here. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag and drop that on into the surface right here. We're going to move this down a few layers. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good so far. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. We're going to get it to where it's proportionally just about the same size here. So let's see how this looks. 820 by 461. Okay, not bad. We're going to hit scale. I'm going to grab that alignment tool, click it on that surface, center it. Not entirely happy with this, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and scale it back up. Because you see there's a little bit of a shadow, and I want to kind of get rid of that shadow there, because we're going to add a shadow of our own. There we go. Center it. Scale. Okay, not bad. Now we've got that shadow out of there. We're going to make our own thing here. Okay, let's go ahead and add a layer here. We're going to want to make sure we keep it transparent. We're going to hit OK on this. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. We're going to click and drag it on down. Now we're going to invert it by pressing Control and the letter I for inverting. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill it with background color by pressing Control and the period key. You notice it put a little bit of black there? Now, it looks a little bit out of place. Don't sweat it. I press Control-Shift-A to deselect it. We're going to go into Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And let's do this right about, let's try 25. Let's see how that looks. Not bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double up on it. We're going to hit OK. And I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate that layer until it looks just about right. Not bad. There we go. Gets to where the eye's drawing right into the middle. That's what I like about that. We're going to merge that layer down. It's not important that we do that, but we're just going to go ahead and do it anyways because we're rebels. Merge it down. Good. Okay, so those are all merged down. Alrighty, the next thing is I want to make sure that people know exactly what this is all about, so they're not just showing up here going, okay, what's this all about? So let's put a little tagline in here to tell people what to expect. Learn how to live stream online. Control A. I'm going to go into Tool Options. Let's make this just a bit smaller. In fact, I'm thinking right about 50, probably tops. We're going to go Dynamic. Okay, so it looks really large. We're going to definitely make this a lot smaller, so we'll try 25. And it looks like I can spell better here, how to live stream. I'm going to go just a bit smaller. There we go. Excellent. Not bad. I'm going to go ahead and add a transparency here. We're going to move this layer down one level. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rectangle tool and we're going to click and drag around this. Okay, now that we have this framed, I'm going to fill it with black background here, Control period. Let's go ahead and we're going to grow that. Let's do it by about, let's see what 2 looks like. Okay, not bad. I'm going to go to the next layer down, put in a transparent layer, okay. Fill it with the white. Excellent. Now let's add another layer. Let's fill that layer with black. You'll see what I'm doing here in just a moment. Control-Shift-A will deselect. Let's shut off these layers just real briefly here. And I'm just going to kind of do something just a little bit rebellious here. I'm going to click on this with the Move tool. I'm going to hit down and left. See how it kind of did a little bit of a backdrop on it? I'm just going to move it just a little bit more. All right. I'm going to duplicate that layer, and now let's go ahead and use that Gaussian blur again. We're going to go Reshow. 15 will probably be plenty. Good. With, without. See how it kind of makes it pop? Okay, speaking of popping, let's go ahead and grab the logo here. We're going to alpha the selection on that. Let's put a transparent layer there. Okay. Control period will fill it with the black background. Control-Shift-A will deselect it. Turn off that layer, grab the Move tool, left click on it, and we might as well go ahead and move the same direction as we did with this specific title down here. Not bad. I'm going to duplicate that layer. Again, we're going to use that Gaussian blur, same level. Ooh, it's a little too bold, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kick this back for opacity. There we go. All right, let's kick up the saturation here on my brother and I. What we'll do is we're going to go into Colors, Hue and saturation. We're going to move this up. Generally speaking, I always find about 20 works out for me on this. Depends on what your taste is. Brightness and contrast, I find typically right about 10 is good. I'm going to do the same thing. This is going to take some experimentation on your behalf. If you've never done this before, you might have to move the saturation up. You might have to do it down. You don't want to do it too much though. So 20. We're going to hit OK. I'm going to go into brightness and contrast. We're going to do the same thing. 10. Excellent. I'm going to move my head up here. Let's put a transparent layer just below us. Right click on the one layer to alpha deselection. We're going to select on the blank layer and I'm going to press Control period. We're going to put a little shadow there. Same thing, next guy, we're going to hit right click, alpha deselection. Go into layer 7, press Control period, fill it with the black background. Control Shift A will deselect it. Go into filters, blur, Gaussian blur. Now we're just going to do 15 because 15 seems to be the magical number. Yeah, there we go. Wasn't too much. We can always just deepen it a little bit. And there we go. Now I feel like we can probably do just a little bit more, kind of like what we did with the profile picture. By the way, we did this already. You're going to get the link inside the description down below where we actually went through this, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab that rectangle tool. We're going to click and drag it here in the background. All right, we're just going to adjust it just a little bit. You see how it has the handles on the sides here? We can just adjust it right there. I'm going to come down. And you know what? We're going to put it below the shadow. Let's see how it looks below the shadow. We're going to hit transparent layer. Okay. We're going to right click that. Edit. Stroke selection. 4 worked last time in the last video. Not bad. I feel like maybe we should move this up 1 layer. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Control Shift A will deselect it. Let's just kill the opacity just a little bit. There we go. All right, we are good to go. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit Control S to save it. Now, normally it's going to pull up a prompt, but keep in mind that if you're utilizing our template that you can get at livestreamingtech.site/FB template, you can actually have all this set up and you can run through this on your own. In fact, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to get it to where we can see exactly the center and make sure that we're all centered out like we should be. So we're going to go into Image, Guides, New Guide. Going to hit OK. Image, Guides, New Guide. And we're going to hit it vertical. See, now we have everything centered. It looks great. You don't have to have this. It's just kind of something that's going to help you to kind of get everything centered out. Now we just want to make sure we put this to the test. Let's make sure everything looks good and should be in its place. We're not so concerned about the black area that we're filling up. We're going to want to make sure it's mobile ready. So I'm going to take this mobile ready area and I'm going to move it up here. So you can see if we just take the opacity and just bring it back a little bit, that's the area that people are going to be seeing on their mobile devices when they go to your landing page. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to shut off that layer. We're going to hit Control Shift E to export. And I'm going to go ahead and save it as Facebook cover photo. Make sure it's in the proper folder. We're going to hit export. And then it's good to go. Now, for some reason, if you're like, oh gosh, it's too pixelated, Dale, you can always double the numbers. You can go upwards of, say, 1640 by 624 because you can essentially just make it smaller when you're uploading it, and it'll get it to where it's less pixelated, a little less granular. So this should look pretty good when we upload it. We'll find out when Wall actually goes through this. And speaking of, if you haven't had the opportunity, please go up and check out this other video where we showed you how to do the Facebook business page's profile picture. It's super simple. It's way easier than this one. And also, if you're a rebel, go watch this video. You might like it, actually. No, go over this one. Or should you go this one?